tilted that Red Bull slightly towards Nico Rosberg, maybe trying to go towards the outside of the first turn when the lights go off. They wait now for the 5 lights. For the first time here in Baku, it's Formula One, and it's lights out and away we go. It's a superstar from Daniel Ricciardo, but Nico Rosberg moves over to cover him off. Sebastian Vettel keeps out of the way, but locking up Felipe Massa. They're all fighting through. That's Jolyon Palmer going straight on in the manner, and the Sauber have come together, and there's a bit of contact damage. Into turn 2 we go now. Felipe Massa gets pinched on the inside of the Force India, and Sergio Perez just goes past him, and Perez now streaking away with Danny Kvyat all over the rear wing of Felipe Massa's Williams. Rosberg from Ricciardo, then comes Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen under pressure from Perez down the inside. Massa fends off Danny Kvyat, and then there's Max Verstappen making places as well. Lewis Hamilton settling down in 10th place.
Yeah, they've all been, I think, very well behaved. I think GP2 has given them an indicator of exactly what's happening, but Hamilton very steady, just to keep all the wings on the car, and he knows he's got to fight on and be there at the end of this Grand Prix.
I think right at the back there was just a little bit of contact there. Esteban Gutierrez has lost a front wing. He's down behind now Nico Hülkenberg in 14th. Hülkenberg lost a couple of places, and Gutierrez going backwards. As through now they go 8 metres wide only through turn 8 and up past the old castle. And whilst the midfield do that, over the crest of the hill goes Nico Rosberg. Dream start for him. Kept out of all the trouble, and that 330 metres down into turn 1 wasn't enough for Ricciardo or even the fast-starting Sebastian Vettel to get anywhere close.
Yeah, it's all about just keep it all with it. The slipstream down into, out of turn 16, they're going to be picking up the slipstream for the first time. They're really going to get a sense of who's got the most downforce on the car, who's got the top speed, but they'll all have the engine turned up at this point, because this is the key point, not to lose a position and challenge the guys in front. They'll be switching them down after this lap.
Accelerating now in 8th gear to maximum speed. The cars making their way along what is the main straight here, but there's various kinks, 1, 2 and 3, and bumps as well to try and unsettle them. And Nico Rosberg has a 1-second gap. Here goes Sergio Perez having a look on Kimi Raikkonen, can't get him, and there is Max Verstappen ahead of Danny Kvyat. Lewis Hamilton still behind Valtteri Bottas, and we go further back here. Carlos Sainz starting from the back, and he's trying to make a move on Esteban Gutierrez, who's still got bits flying off his front wing damage, and Gutierrez still going. And I said that the Sauber and the Manor had come together, and it was Rio Haryanto who got caught up in that, and he's had to pit at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, and the one thing I was just going to say there, the Red Bull looks like it's got the tyres started quicker than anything, and they were struggling on Friday. I think that lap of Ricciardo really shocked Rosberg at the front. He's not able to do something, and equally Verstappen making a way forward already, being out of position in qualifying.
Yeah, Verstappen, who started 9th, is up and past Danny Kvyat now. Valtteri Bottas behind Kvyat. Hamilton maybe playing the patient game. Mercedes, I think, saying to Hamilton today, if you just keep yourself out of trouble like you didn't do in China, well, a 1-2 is still possible.
Absolutely. The race pace the other day, nobody touched it. So I think as we see it start to develop, 6-7 laps in, the tyres are going to start to green. There's no question. You can already see a small band in the middle of the tyre showing up, and they need to see the data. They need to see the first guy like Hülkenberg. He's going to give them the crucial data when equally they can be aggressive to get in boxed into some fresh air, or equally just go a bit longer than everyone when they've got the inheritance pace in that car.
Hülkenberg lost 3 places off the grid, but you're absolutely right in what you're saying there, Paul. Think about it later on. What I suppose Force India wouldn't want is a safety car right now. They want the safety car to come a lot later in this race. Yeah,
definitely. This is Williams setting up the Toro Rosso in front. Just look at the difference having to lift. All very, very edgy, just losing the downforce. But just watch this. He starts to pick up the toe. Going to pick up DRS very soon.
But is the DRS going to be enough for him? We've seen the pace of that Williams down the straight. Here it is now on board. And a very good piece of blocking there by Danny Kvyat. Positioned that Toro Rosso very nicely indeed, and Bottas had to back out of it. But if he can't get him into turn 1, can he get a decent exit out of turn 2? Look how Lewis Hamilton is following on very closely behind, and this will be a DRS zone as well. Now it is enabled, and there goes the gap in the rear wing. It's a very long straight. There's Valtteri Bottas ahead of Danny Kvyat. That was oh so easy and oh so important that Bottas got past the Toro Rosso.
He needs to get moving on. He needs to follow Verstappen. Those two had a bit of an incident in qualifying. They weren't happy with each other. We'll see how that battle goes. But
so let's look at the start again, Paul. Good start from Ricciardo, but Rosberg covering him off.
Yeah, just the initial launch of Mercedes not quite there, but the acceleration when everything kicks in, when he's released that paddle, the car really accelerates forward.
And I think Hulkenberg got hit by Gutierrez. We'll maybe see it again from a different angle, which could explain why Hulkenberg was struggling just a touch. Didn't get off the line particularly well, locking up all over the place. That was Gutierrez down the inside, and that's where he made the contact with Hulkenberg.
Yeah, I think even the car behind might have touched Gutierrez. Didn't quite see it. They were on board with the half, so we'll get an idea exactly what happened.
Well, we're on board now then with Esteban Gutierrez, already passed there by Felipe Nasser, locking up Grosjean, and there wasn't any room down the inside.
No, he was completely out of control. Front left lock and the front right just not stopping.
Well, Nico Hulkenberg has been taken out at turn 1 already this season by Rio Haryanto, I think it was. Well, actually, no, it was Esteban Gutierrez in Russia. Nearly happened again. That round the outside is the flying Fernando Alonso, but there's no room round the outside either.
He just got squeezed out, but brave to go there. We've seen Fernando do that quite a lot. You know, back to Joe Vettel, issues at turn 1.
Yes, he's gone wide, and I'm looking a bit further back as well, as Hamilton has just taken Danny Kvyat. So Kvyat's gone from 8th down to 10th. He's been passed by Bottas, and then Hamilton, and you're right, Sebastian Vettel are just going wide down at turn 1 as well. Danny Kvyat under pressure because Romain Grosjean is now right behind him as well. And the toe is working so well, you just can't relax here. You've always got, it seems, Paul, someone all over your rear wing. And look, here goes Grosjean now, trying to make a move on Danny Kvyat, going into turn 3, down the inside goes Grosjean. Nice move indeed. Kvyat now out of the points.
Yeah, that Toro Rosso not looking happy at all in race conditions when all that weight's in there. Let's see how Alonso can do it. We've seen that car was quite quick in the toe the other day, but here's Hamilton without DRS overtaking the Toro Rosso down into turn 1. Now that's unleashed him to try and get the back of Bottas and close up in the gas behind. In front, sorry.
Pull away and close up.
I think when it's the fastest car on the track and it's out of position, I think we can kind of say that's why Lewis would be very safe in start.
Nice move from Grosjean here. We saw him locking up over at turn 1, but I think his tyres are switched on enough now to cope with some late braking. That was a very nice move indeed. Kimi Raikkonen's under pressure. This is Sergio Perez right behind him. Perez making up a couple of places going into turn 2 on the opening lap, and he's gone from 7th on the grid, now currently 5th. But he's going to get DRS as we look now at Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen down at turn 16. Look, Verstappen's gone wide. Bottas says, thank you very much indeed. You've opened the door. I'm going to step right in, and he does. Bottas puts himself up into 7th. There's the leader, Nico Rosberg, from Daniel Ricciardo, from Sebastian Vettel. Then comes Kimi Raikkonen and Sergio Perez. Perez is still gaining on him. Perez is going to have a go. No, he's not. Down into turn 1. He just runs out of room. But he's all over Raikkonen. He's going to have a go, isn't he? Into turn 3. And look at that. Lewis Hamilton on the right-hand side. Bottas on the inside. Verstappen in the middle. 3 of them going in one by one. It's Bottas that comes out in front. And Verstappen now under pressure from Lewis Hamilton. Into turn 2. Hamilton goes down the inside. Verstappen's on a couple of places. 2 corners there as Valtteri Bottas puts himself up into 7th. Hamilton now 8th. And there's Verstappen 9th. But Grosjean all over him. And he's having to defend with all his might. And he does so into turn 3. And Verstappen, well, he's learning an awful lot in Formula 1 at the moment as the youngster. And on that occasion, Paul, learning just what can happen when you haven't quite got the top speed that you need.
Yeah, that Mercedes-Benz power is just too strong. Williams very strong, but I couldn't believe that Bottas was trying to overtake him down into turn 60. We would never have thought that would have happened on board with Lewis Hamilton in turn 1. You can just see Verstappen on the exit curve. He needs to give up that place because the Mercedes took car alongside, and then Hamilton easily making that move stick.
I think twice in qualifying yesterday, Valtteri Bottas tried that move on Max Verstappen. It didn't do him any good on that occasion. On this occasion, 3rd time lucky for him. But should Verstappen just have given up the place to Bottas, thinking, look, I'm not going to get that. Did he, Paul, actually make life a lot tougher for himself by trying to fight Hamilton as well?
You could possibly losing the positions, but Red Bull really struggling with the tyres. Look, already nearly 2 seconds off the first sector, so I think they're going to definitely have to go to a 2-stop. We saw that in Canada. Yeah. They cannot make the tyres last at this point. You know, earlier on in the year they were definitely way into it. I've done too much debris stuff on the front nose when that's gone.
Carry a bag of some sort, and there are a lot of them blowing around. It is a street circuit, obviously, but riding on board now with Sebastian Vettel, and there's his former teammate. His former teammate looks to have just disappeared into the ether. It was that easy for him. Perez having a go at Raikkonen. Got that wrong, Paul, didn't he? He's lost a bit of ground, sadly.
Ferrari are up against it here. This Force India, we know it's really strong in the tyres. Perez can get there. He's not out of position really from where he qualified, although being second obviously he would be far more comfortable.
Into the pits comes Max Verstappen. Soft compound tyre going on. So technically it could still be a one-stop race for Red Bull, but he has got 45 laps to try and achieve on a set of soft compound tyres.
That bag's still stuck in the front of Ferrari. That'll massively be affecting the front downforce, the efficiency of that car, but I think that's clearly a two-stop from Red Bull. They've had to react, they've had to jump on it. Now it's about making the best out of what they can do with Ricardo, because they don't want to get into it. Look how far off you are, just 3 seconds off what the Mercedes can do, just in 1 lap. We're only 6 laps into this Grand Prix.
So the tyres falling off the cliff just a little bit. You can see the bag on the right-hand side of the nose there. And how did it affect the braking of Vettel, just because he was arriving that much later after getting past Ricardo?
The whole efficiency of that car will be struggling, but Rosberg managed to do an overall best lap in purple sector 1. Massively quicker Mercedes, massively quicker this one.
Nico Rosberg, who has led more laps than everyone else this season before today, continues to lead here, and he has a very healthy advantage indeed. Ted, quickly to you, because they're queuing up for some overtaking.
Yeah, those pit stops were triggered by Carlos Sainz, who decided to change tactics. That meant that his teammate Fiat came in as well, had a very slow pit stop with a tricky problem getting the rears on and the Red Bull as well.
Yeah, down in 21st now, with only Rio Haryanto behind him. We're on board with Kimi Raikkonen, who's currently 4th. Sergio Perez is behind him. Into the pit comes Daniel Ricciardo. He committed early. Look at all that, the plastic bags and the debris finally unwinding itself. Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari. So Ricciardo's come into the pit. There he is now. Raikkonen still ahead of Perez. That is a super stop by the Red Bull crew. And Daniel Ricciardo is out and back into this race. And we've watched Sergio Perez chasing after the Ferrari, which does seem to have decent top speed, but also, crucially for Raikkonen, DRS as well, to keep him ahead of the Force India.
Yeah, Valtteri Bottas is on the move. He's already caught up with Massa. He's been slightly quicker all weekend. He's been able to do it. So are they going to unleash him to go forward, because he needs to make an impact, especially with Perez. That's the battle. I think it's going to be the end of the race between those two.
Daniel Ricciardo comes back out into the race in 13th place behind Marcus Ericsson and ahead of Esteban Gutierrez.
There was some plastic flying around to avoid it.
You did very well, Kimi. Congratulations. First elite machine usage for today. Felipe Massa, as you mentioned, now has Valtteri Bottas for company. And that is, that's rather a lot, isn't it? You don't want to be seeing that. Nice gleaming red car, Paul. The last thing you need is a bit of blue on there as well.
Look at the turbulence of it. That it just came off. Wow, Perez. That went in the side pod, that would have been engine temperature through the roof.
So down at Williams, they're bracing themselves for pit stops here. Massa should get first dibs. Oh, Ted, down to you. What has happened at Toro Rosso?
Yeah, it's Carlos Sainz.
Yes, no, it's Danny Fiat.
It's Fiat, yeah, sorry. So Fiat has retired. It looks like there was that problem linked to the slow pit stop earlier.
Oh dear. 2,500 kilometre track to this hometown of Uber. And for Danny Fiat, first retiree from this race. Down the main straight, Massa peels off into the pits. Bottas and Hamilton into turn 1. And Williams stays ahead just for the moment. Good Felipe Massa. You're probably quite glad, Paul, to have got out of that scrap for a while and got into the pits, and you just carry on running your own race now.
Yeah, and he's not lost track position between Bottas and Hamilton fighting each other, but I just wanted to have a glimpse of those tyres. We just didn't quite see it, but that's going to be quite costly for Massa, because look, he's going to come out into all this traffic, and he needs to clear them as quick as possible.
Well, he's just ahead there, isn't he, of Gutierrez, and on the inside, Jolyon Palmer ahead. A good move from Jolyon Palmer there. He just put himself into 13th place ahead of Gutierrez, who seems to be struggling a little bit after a decent qualifying. But that, a matter of meters there, that's really helped Felipe Massa.
And that is a credit to the Williams pit stop crew.
They've
been doing it fast. That was the crucial
Kinder.
time when he had to deliver, and they managed to do it.
किधर
It's all about sticky and slippery and
यार मैंने कपड़े चेंज करने पैने हैं
nuts and bolts that go into the
मान दे कि तो बाहर गया
a bit of hard work and a bit of fitness training and an awful lot of practice as well. They've practiced so many times during the course of a Grand Prix weekend that there's every crew to get it right.
Box, Sebastian. Box. How you feel about this? Pace is looking good.
Yeah,
Going to be undercut by Ricciardo. Fox now.
I'm just going to say, Paul, it doesn't matter what your pace is, I suppose, now. How big a threat is the undercut for the likes of Vettel and Raikkonen?
Well, they've triggered it. Red Bull have set everyone off, so do they stick with it? Here we see the Ferrari crew just coming out. They're just in front of our commentary box, so they're definitely coming in. It's not a bluff in any way, but Bottas looking strong. He's able to edge out Hamilton. Hamilton 18 seconds off the race lead at the moment already.
Yeah, it's working out very well if you're Nico Rosberg. Your advantage over Sebastian Vettel was 10.3 seconds. Vettel is now Kimi Raikkonen is now pitting. So they've left Vettel out for a lap. They've given Kimi Raikkonen first dibs on the pit stop. A surprise?
Yeah, maybe because of that radio call purely from Sebastian, just to say I'm happy with the tyres, no need to react too much. Now, you saw they got it wrong in Canada. I definitely think in this position they should just play it out, kind of do what Mercedes are doing, rather than go too much what others are doing.
But I wonder if they've had to protect Raikkonen from Felipe Massa. Look, he just got out ahead of Felipe Massa, and did he need that? Another lap, he'd have come out behind Massa as he locks up, going to the right hand. And now we get a good look at the tyres, Paul.
Yeah, just look at the grain and you can just see those all the way up, all the way across the tread, just happening.
So Bottas ahead of Hamilton. I think the teams have no data. It's the first time we've come to Baku. On this part of the track, it's so narrow. You're kind of forced to file behind the car in front. There's not much clean air you can get. But how big a worry is tyre graining from following too closely to the car in front?
It just makes everything a bit harder. It just, that little bit more understeer, what's hard, what starts to open up the compound. When you open that compound, it just lose the surface. Perez, he's just noticed he's had a bad lap as well. Are they going to react this lap? Because they obviously want to try and optimise and try and stay in front of Ricciardo, but for the other guys catching up, the Williams and Mercedes, they look like they're sticking to their plans.
But the key is with people coming in before 10 laps have been completed, can they go 40 plus laps on a set of soft tyres? We haven't got a clue, and Ted, I'm sure the teams haven't got much of a clue either.
No, I mean, they'd have to commit to a two-stop, I think, everybody who's pitted earlier, but with the likelihood possibly of a safety car later, that might not be a problem. What Sebastian Vettel is doing is that he seems, having questioned that strategy call from the Ferrari pit wall, he seems to have won that argument from it. He's not coming in. First time we've spoken all season about suspect Ferrari strategy calls. First time I've heard Vettel question a call publicly on the radio, and he's not coming in. So I think you're right, he's just going to shadow what the Merc does ahead.
What he's doing though is he's a tenth, he's a second behind Nico Rosberg, but he is lapping quicker than Perez and Bottas and Hamilton as well. Slicing his way to the field is Daniel Ricciardo, past Pascal Wehrlein and now past Romain Grosjean as well. Neither of whom have pitted in this race so far. Kimi Raikkonen has pitted, we'll await his time in a moment, but I'm just wondering, you've got Hamilton within DRS range on Bottas, Wehrlein's having a look at Grosjean, but they're now right up behind Sergio Perez as well. You mentioned, Paul, he's been struggling a touch. They're actually gaining on him now. So, let's go down to the pit wall live with Christian Horner. Some early pit stops here, Christian, and it seems that Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo have triggered it all. Are we committing to a two-stop, or can you make these tyres last?
Well, it's a wait and see. I think we were out of window on the operating range on the other tyres, so it's going to be nip and tuck with Sebastian if he fits now. So let's see what happens over the next couple of laps.
Yeah, so far it's been quite clean out there as well. We were all expecting carnage at the start.
Plenty of time for that. It's still early days.
And in terms of how your pace is now, you've made that pit stop. Are you satisfied that the pace is good enough?
There we are. It looks like Sebastian stayed out that lap. So what's crucial for us is not to get held too far behind Hulkenberg, obviously. So it's going to be a fascinating few laps.
Yeah, we can't wait to see how it unfolds. Thanks ever so much indeed. Hamilton's having a go on Bottas. Down into turn one. Has Lewis Hamilton got past him? Yes, he has. He's been stuck behind Bottas since the start of the race, and now he finally gets past him. But Bottas can try and get back, of course, in the next DRS zone. And down the main straight we come with Kimi Raikkonen and Pascal Wehrlein in that manner. It's like Champion the Wonder Horse meets Pegasus. It's absolutely flying with its Mercedes horsepower in a straight line. Raikkonen though gets better traction out of turn one, gets better braking into turn two, and Kimi Raikkonen gets past Pascal Wehrlein and moves up into 8th place.
Yeah, both cars had DRS but you can just see the difference when you've got a new set of tyres, just able to pick and choose exactly where he wants to be and able to get by. But these, I think these soft tyres are working well. Wehrlein, obviously way up from where he started, and has just been able to stay out of the tyre. The actual tread looks in good condition as well, so that's what the guys at the front, they're trying to stay up as long as possible, burn that fuel off, get the car lighter, make it lighter on the tyre, and then they can get to the end of the Grand Prix. But another 3-4 laps and I think they're comfortably going to make it.
Romain Grosjean peeled on into the pits as we saw Kimi Raikkonen and Pascal Wehrlein. Their particular jewelers are on board now with the reigning world champion making his way downhill towards turn 15, where of course he came cropper in qualifying yesterday, went off into the escape road. Finally it was turn 10 that claimed him and forced him out of qualifying, brought out the red flag and ended his qualifying hopes. Very ragged performance yesterday. It's a little better this afternoon for his teammate though. Into the 149s now, Nico Rosberg. He has a near 14-second lead in this race. It's looking absolutely superb for him so far. Sebastian Vettel running second, and then Sergio Perez crossing the line, only 0.8 of a second ahead of Lewis Hamilton, with Valtteri Bottas now a second and a half behind him. We're on board with Felipe Massa, and down the main straight, Mercedes power, Manor against Williams. He's level pegging his Felipe Massa, and now he's ahead of Pascal Wehrlein, and Massa goes up into 9th place. Under braking is comfortably ahead of Pascal Wehrlein. Ted, down to you.
Down at Toro Rosso, it was a suspension failure, suspension problem for Danny Kvyat. That's the reason for his retirement. We've got a Renault in the pits.
It is Joey Palmer coming into the pits. And Kimi Raikkonen, as Joey Palmer makes an awful lot of noise, leaving there. Kimi Raikkonen is under investigation for crossing the line at the pit entry. This could be problematic.
Yeah, it's, the line is kind of on the track, that's the thing about it. So what you're supposed to do when you're overtaking if somebody pushes you there, are you supposed to treat it like a wall? I'm not really sure how they're going to manage that. We've not saw anything like that this weekend so far in GP Touring. So hopefully give us a quick decision so they can get back to some serious racing.
Well, they extended the line, haven't they, to try and make drivers commit to the pit entry a lot sooner. What was the reason behind that?
Yeah, you can just see the white line just on the right hand side of the shot next to the DRS. I'm not really sure how you treat it. If somebody's pushing you out there and you're already kind of alongside them, they've got to give you the space. But Rosberg, miles in front at this point, that car still been able to go quicker and quicker and quicker. I mean, at the point, nobody's even at the same second.
He's almost in a different time zone.
He's able to save the tyres and just comfortably do it. So I think he'll definitely be on plan A strategy, which we all believe is a one-stop. On board with the Red Bulls, are going to pick up a slipstream. I think that's who's in front of him at the moment. Is that the Porsche India Hulkenberg?
It is. We're on board with Daniel Ricciardo. Hulkenberg on a soft compound tyre, but not quite as fresh as Daniel Ricciardo. And Ricciardo up into 6th place. He's managed to get past Nico Hulkenberg. We're only on lap 12. On lap 13, we've completed 12 laps. So we're just wondering, Hulkenberg's tyres are starting to struggle a little bit there.
I was just going to say the last lap though, Crofty, Hulkenberg was able to improve his lap time, so still trying to warm that option tyre up, which is the yellow sidewall, which is what all the other guys are on. But Kimi Raikkonen also just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far, albeit only slightly quicker than Rosberg at the front on tyres that have done over 16 laps if you include the qualifying performance.
That's a very good point. 1:49.7 for Kimi Raikkonen, who's currently in 8th place, but stewards have just had a little look at it for crossing the line of the pits entry. It's normally, if they think that he's done that, the penalty swiftly follows, because it's about safety rather than anything else. The reason why they extended that line, you were saying, Paul, is because there are different lines you can take through what is ostensibly a straight, but it's got kinks in it, and they want drivers to stay over to that left-hand side and not be diving from the right to the left at the last minute at high speed, when another car might be coming up and then they could be blindsided. Kimi Raikkonen's got a penalty. It's a 5-second time penalty for Kimi Raikkonen.
Just watching the guys, Vettel, Perez, Hamilton, Bottas, all in that battle. Now the graining on the top surface is obviously starting to clean up as they're losing the rubber, and they're all starting to do personal best lap times. personal best sector, so they're getting through that stage and they'll get back to proper racing as well.
So for Kimi Raikkonen then, Paul, if he comes in again, he gets 5 seconds to wait before they service his car and they change his tyres, or he has 5 seconds added to his race time at the end. We'll see.
I think Kimi would much rather have the fortune for Verstappen up the inside of the Sauber, trying to make grounds and trying to get on the back of the group that Raikkonen, Hulkenberg and Ricciardo are on. But it's not about Kimi, he would much rather have that time put on his
Tyres, or he has 5 seconds added to his race time at the end. We'll see.
I think Kimi would much rather have the fortune for Verstappen up the inside of the Sauber, trying to make grounds and trying to get on the back of the group that Raikkonen, Hulkenberg and Ricciardo are on. Which is not about Kimi, he would much rather have that time put on his
Tyres, or he has 5 seconds added to his race time at the end. We'll see.